I want to give massive thanks to all of my supporting members and patrons. Thank you all so very much. Hello, good evening and welcome everybody. Good to see you all here once again. Nice set already in the house. Colon, ever present colon, of course, thank you. Cygnus TSP, Matt Shedler, M2M, Cash. I hope you did get my messages. We will sort that out nearer the time. More on that later perhaps. Judy Bassett, hello to you. Watto UK, what up? Globe Believers. All's fine here, pal. Now Pinion. Now. I'm glad that we hooked up about that. I'm not sure exactly when I'll get to do that, but I will do it. So thanks for the address, and it will be ready to go soonest. And say hi to Little Miss now. Oh, I just got some sound coming through from... Oh, I see. Colon jumped in live for a second. Mohammed Shafiq, good evening to you. Scrolling back, Mark says Ning. Ning to you too, my friend. Buddy Zappo, new name for me. General E. Shady. General E. Shady, General E. Shady, General E. Shady. General E. Shady is like a rash over the chat tonight. And Tiny Captain. We'll check in if I can watch tonight. Travelling home at the moment. Finished my 5-yearly medical care on-board training. Well, have a safe trip and hopefully you can jump in, Tiny. Well, 9k. Whoa, yay. Finally crossed that 9k barrier, and I didn't even notice when it happened till later on that day. Yes. Oh yeah. Only one's working. That's weird. Hold on. I don't know why that is. I've not adjusted anything. Let me kill OBS and come straight back in again. We'll see if that helps. Fingers crossed. Are you sure you want to exit while live? Well, it's only 50% live anyway, isn't it? Let's go for it. Right, I'm back and it's still only showing right here. That's really weird. Any ideas, Colon? Am I back? Hello? Hello? Jumping live. Hello? Hello, Colon? Yeah, it's only showing one thing on the sound meters. I haven't got any options to adjust that, have I? What? Your sound isn't much better tonight. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, so people, in case you think you've gone deaf in one ear, no you haven't. It's definitely mine, because I can see the two sound bars and only one's moving. But since I've changed no settings, the only other thing I can think of is rebooting my machine. But I did just do that to sort out another issue. Yes. What does that mean in real money? So I drop what out? On what? I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, audio? What do you mean drop it? Oh dear. I wonder if it's... Oh, hold on. Let's try that. No, that hasn't helped. See, I'm going to end up screwing something up if I'm not careful. And I can't remember what that was on. Is that default or disabled? I don't know. Oh man. I have made no this is the sort of thing that really, really annoys me. It's not that something's difficult to set up, but that at random it decides to change itself. Not for me. I'm on Windows 7 Ultimate. Well, you can talk. We can barely understand you, you Dalek. Oh dear. The one other thing I can think of doing is literally rebooting my machine again. I mean, I've done that before when I've had issues. So if people can bear with me, I'll give that a try. Because failing that, I ain't got a Scoobies. Okay. All right, people. Damn. I'm still only getting one audio stream. But I really have no idea what's happening. This is going to be something I'm going to have to muck around with at some other point. Oh, I'm getting playback. Yeah, sorry about that, people. Sorry, Colin? Yeah, it's definitely only one. I can see only one's lit up, and I haven't got the faintest idea why that would be. It was fine until I rebooted to try and sort out your sound, mate. Oh man. Okay. Well, just Dustin DeVint says all cables plugged in. Well, as far as I know, Dustin, I've not touched the machine. Let's just. Right. Sorry, say again. I can't really understand you, Colin. It's really, is it the correct mic? Well, that did cross my mind. I wondered if it's picking up the webcam mic, but I'm not sure what setting to change. So if I go to audio, it's got desktop audio device 1 and audio device 2. One's default, one's disabled. But if I select the Rode speakers, is that the one? It's still only showing one anyway. Oh, what am I doing? Do you know where I select a different mic? What? Do what? Do what, you Dalek? Go to what? Go to what? Hello? Oh no, I can't hear colon now. Colon. Yeah, I'm in the settings, so I've got general stream, output, audio, video, blah blah blah. Well, where do you do it then? No, that's not on there. What do you mean? Go? Where's? Am I what? Streamlabs OBS. The bottom icon is the bottom icon is settings. Oh right, yes, the sources, yeah. Yeah, but I don't do the. I don't. I never need to put in a scene for audio. No. I never ever have added. No, because. All right, let's just add one audio input capture, which I've never ever had before. Right, road. Right now. Oh, hold on. Now, are people getting it now? Now that is interesting because I've got Mick and Orcs, which is... Oh, perhaps I should have done it on there anyway. Hold on. Hello. Ah, hold on, that's it. Let me take... Yeah, and I'm just going to take off that audio input capture again. Yeah, what it was, for some reason, because I never ever have added a source for that. It's automatically picked up a mic. For some reason, it had gone to default rather than my one. So here I am. Thank you, in gorgeous stereo. Yeah, there we go. No, Flow Rider : is not the master. I just fixed that. Oh no, thank you, Thank you. Well, listen, I think you need to fix your sound. Your sound is absolutely shite. Yeah, you want to listen? Yeah, but just say something and then jump out and listen to the screen. The stream. Go on then. You speak something and then listen to the stream. Oh, he's gone. You're a bloody Dalek. Anyway, where was I before all that kerfuffle? And what do you mean, Ziploc, Mr. S having sound problems? It wasn't my fault. It's this flipping software. I hadn't changed it. It's just that, yeah, like I was saying, that's the one thing that really annoys me about software. With things like networking and setting up Wi-Fi and that, you can look at the instructions, you can carefully get all the settings, you can tinker with it, you get it all working, and it's brilliant for weeks. And next time you go to do it, it's stuffed, and you go in and have a look, and you find the settings have gone. Why? Now, when I was first looking at getting a decent microphone, I was chatting with Colin. He was talking about I forgot what they call them now. XYZ microphones, whatever it is, that standard plug is, but then you need some sort of gizmo with a lot of turning knobs on, and you're also talking about voice meter potato and voice meter prawn salad and God knows what. And the thing is, okay, that's fine. You spend an age getting it all working, and then a setting goes, and you're absolutely screwed. Because is it the sound on the Windows? Is it the sound on the stream? Is it the broadcast software? Is it something else? I don't want it, so I just want it plug and go USB, and it does. It's the flipping Streamlabs that screwed up. Can you get Mr. Sensible to maybe mention Creaky Blinders video, disturbing video Matt Powell has put out? I saw someone else said, no, David, it's not updates. I'm on Windows 7 Ultimate. None of that knees bend arsing around automatic updates from me. Thank you very much. Yeah, I saw someone else said something about Creaky. I didn't catch the video, so I don't know what that's about at all. Oh, TGK2 said he couldn't hear colon. Yeah. Yes, John Rapp. It's no good retracting your message now. Turn knobs on. I saw it. Oh, Cygnus TSP. Thank you very much. For $5. Half of Mr. Sensible's audio is still better than none. Also, Johners would like Creaky's video on Matt Powell mentioned. I did just mention it, but I don't know who Matt Powell is. I have heard the name, but I've never seen anything of his or heard about anything about him, so I couldn't comment at all. Topic, what do we want to talk about? You know what we want to talk about. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, Watto? Yeah, so I didn't see Creaky's video. Someone said it's a bit disturbing. I'm not quite sure why that should be. I've just realised the chat hasn't picked up. Let's just try and refresh that. Everything's a little odd tonight. But then Mrs. S isn't here. She's gone away for a week with her mum and dad. Oh, is he, Buddy Zappo? That's good to know. Thank you. No. Oh dear. Jez of the Master Review, what's my thoughts on Ranty leaving the flat earth? I've always had time for Ranty. Back in December, this will show what sort of person he is. Back in, or was it November, when my mum was right on the verge in the care home. He super chatted me £15 and said, have a drink in her memory or something like that. I thought that was really, really kind of him. Really kind, and I said so at the time. I obviously think he was wrong about the flat Earth, and seeing him on Fight, he still either holds some other beliefs or is not sure about things like fake moon landings and so on. However, I respect the fact that when he saw evidence to his satisfaction, he then changed his position. Now, to me, less evidence would have been enough, obviously, but for him, that level of evidence was enough to make him know. But instead of hiding it or ignoring it, he changed his position, and you can only respect that. You can only respect that. I saw right the hand. That's annoying me, that white chat box. I'm going to see if I can side chat, because that should be. Oh no, that should be the same. BI. Okay. See if it'll do it now. It won't. That's really weird. Well, I don't know quite what's going on. So you got text on white. It was fine. Again, until I rebooted my machine to try and sort out colon sound. Colon, you're for it tonight, pal. No Mrs. S for a week. Arnold be snout deep in cocaine and hookers. He's here. He's out of it. Up to his eyeballs. Oh, he just stretched and said, what the hell? And gone back to sleep. Yeah, eyeballs. Cocaine and hookers for the cat. Definitely. Yeah, he has been more human than most flatties. I mean, there's one or two others who you can talk to reasonably. Some are flipping idiots. Absolute idiots. Oh, Matt Powers a Junior, Kent Hovind. Oh, God. One's enough. One Kent Hovind's enough. And his son's just as bad. Yeah, because Ranty Super Chat's Mr. Sensible. David, it's not that. I did think that anyway, but I just think it was... it showed something of his character that he would Super Chat the opposition and, could see the position I was in. He had sympathy and he Super Chatted to show some support. That's what it is. Not the money. Not the money. STST initially had several other conspiracy theories right after leaving. Yeah, I think that Flat Earth is a gateway conspiracy. I think I heard a bit of Ranty saying that Flat Earthers will do anything to pick holes in evidence, not the straight sceptical, can you show me that evidence is correct, but pick holes, the stupid holes. Oh, he went there in his car, did he? What make of car was it? You can't tell me, then I'll throw out your evidence. All that stupid excuses. Anything to ignore evidence that... what's that squeak? I don't know. It sounded like I stood on a mouse. Anything to try and get rid of evidence for no good reason. If you can counter evidence and show that evidence is not... what's the word? Not good enough, can't be trusted or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine, of course. Sorry, I'm still getting everything sort of loaded up after that. But, if you've come up with a bullshit excuse to get rid of evidence just because it's not convenient, that's not good. So, yeah, hats off to him. Hats off to him. I mean, it is pretty much a killer. I saw Flatsoid FE, and do go and have a look at Flatsoid's video with his demonstration. He accused people of not being honest, and he made a model of this Blackpool Tower, the Blackpool Swan. Has anyone called it that? The Blackpool Swan. But anyway, that's what I think of it as, the Blackpool Swan. He made a model, popped these two pieces of sort of upright paper at different distances, not measured distances, just random distances, random sized pieces of paper, because the mountain was twice the height of Blackpool Tower, which, what is it? So Blackpool Tower is 158 metres, that Dow Crag is 778, but he had it as just twice the height of Blackpool Tower. So that would be 316. So basically he had the mountain half the height it should have been, and didn't seem to think that scale matters.
and waffled about perspective and optical drop. We all know that things get smaller or appear to get smaller as they go off into the distance due to perspective, Mr. Flatsoid. But in your own video, you had a diagram showing Blackpool Tower and the mountain beyond, and it's on a flat Earth, and you could see that the mountain would appear, even at that distance, even though it looks smaller, it would appear taller, still taller than Blackpool Tower. Unfortunately, in the Blackpool Swan photo, Blackpool Tower towered over the mountain. Booyah, suck it up, princess. It's a globe. Now, I'm sorry for people typing things because I've just been tinkering with Windows to try and get everything going, so I can't see the chat right now. Oh, and right, and there's another super chat which I've just seen, so let me read that while I'm on the screen. Cygnus TSP again, thank you. $5. Have you seen the catfish on Taboo Conspiracy? Oh, is this the... Not yet. I did see the messages about it. This is the Simon Dan thing, isn't it, that a lot of people, or several people, got involved with. I know Hugh Jarvis did. I don't recall who else. No. So I shall look forward to that. Right, back to the chat so I can see what's happening, guys. Lovely plumage. The Swan of Blackpool. Sounds like a bad romance novel. Yes. Yes, Watto, you're right. Scale has diplomatic immunity. Has just been revoked. It's called the White Swan. Thanks, Bev. Thanks, Bev. Hashtag thanks, Bev. Thanks, Colon. Richie Rich asked, what's popping, people? Fatsoid is a total chef nugget. Oh, yes, Ivan, he is. He is indeed. David Oliver has a wireless mouse. So have I. I've also got a wireless keyboard that, despite changing the battery, at random times I'm typing and then nothing comes up, and I sit and look at the screen and then the letters go... What the hell's happening? They're queued up in the Ethernet or the ether, depending on Earth's spin, I suppose. Oh, it doesn't spin, does it, apparently? Not sure. How can anyone truly believe Flat Earth really says, just call me Avi? Well, I'll tell you what. If you woke up this morning and you'd never heard that, and someone said, what shaped the Earth? And you'd never thought of it before, if you looked out the window, you're going to say, and it would be a good starting point. Assuming there's no great mountains in front of you, you're going to say, well, it looks flat. And that's fair enough. Initial start point, day one. But then you need to do a bit of investigation, and the evidence sort of piles up against it. Unfortunately, flat earthers seem to stop at day one and don't go any further. Sorry, I'm still going back in the chat. Jez, the Master Reviewer, says about Ranty, takes respect to admit a mistake. Yeah, absolutely. And isn't it great how with STST and Ranty, people haven't taken the piss out of him for what he did believe. They've welcomed him and chatted with him. I mean, you think of all the channels ST and ST's been on, talking with people, talking about his past and the journey he's been on, because people are genuinely interested and supportive. That's all we want. If people honestly look at the evidence, there is only one conclusion. I mean, the whole thing about star trails. Star trails do not prove a globe, but it damn well proves it can't be flat. It's some 3D shape. So just starting there, you cannot ignore that. Well, apparently you can. Ooh, I've got Mr. Chris Durham Music Channel in the live waiting room. Chris, if you're listening to the stream, I'll get you in just a minute. So there's fair warning for you. And let me scroll down again so I think I'm up to date. Bob Nodell's Gyroscope. Good evening, sir. Thanks, Bob. And hashtag thanks, Bev. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still looking at others. I've got a wireless hedge trimmer. I chopped the lead off yesterday. My boss wasn't happy. Oh, dear. You want a Wi-Fi hedge trimmer? Ivan James Hunt can switch his wireless keyboard mouse between PC, Surface Pro and tablet. I've got a little doohickey. That plugs into a little sort of Wi-Fi. Is it? I'm not even sure if it counts as Wi-Fi or something else. it might be Bluetooth, I'm not sure, but a little radio doohickey that plugs into the USB port and it talks to the keyboard and mouse. Logitech stuff. I've had it quite a few years. Although this keyboard, the very day, this really annoyed me, the very day I got it, at that time I was temporarily set up on a table up in the house, and some friends come round. One of them's rather clumsy. She made a round of drinks and said, "Here, Mr. S, I got you a cup of tea." Passed it straight across the keyboard and it went all over it. Brand new. I'd literally had it switched on for about half an hour and it was full of tea. To say I was not chuffed is an understatement. To say I bit her head off would not be a ridiculous assumption to make, because I bit her head off. Her husband was calling her several names as well. Oh dear. I felt a bit bad afterwards because it was an accident. But this thing was brand new, not half an hour out the packet, you know. Who dear. Oh, channel right. Just super. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just. Please forgive me. Because of the way this is a problem I've always had with Streamlabs for a long time. Yeah, just as well. I don't get the super chats; they don't pop up, so I have to manually check them. So. Truth Nerds super chatted €5. Flatzoid accusing people of dishonesty. Oh, the irony. Mr. Tethered Balloon. Thanks, Sly Spark 8. I forgot about that one. Mr. 11 Frames. Oh, yes. That was for Reds, wasn't it? Mr. Omitted Misplaced Lines. Yes. Well, he's not showing much honesty in this existing video, not because he's using different heights, because he does show you, but sort of stating that it proves anything with regard to the Blackpool weekend away, or whatever the hell it was called, the dirty weekend in Blackpool. Oh, I like that. Yeah, but with regard to that, his demonstration shows jack all. It shows that something further away will look smaller, and a nearby object which is smaller can look bigger than a further away larger object. Yes, Flatzoid, we know. But if that larger object is not too far away, it will appear still larger than the nearer, smaller object, if you get my drift. And that's the situation we should have been in with the Blackpool picture, because at the distance of 81 kilometres, what's it called again? Dow Crag should have appeared a little taller than Blackpool Tower, but it doesn't, because of the earth curve. And once again, Flatzoid, I say unto thee, suck it up, princess, it's a globe. Talking of which, I hope you've all, if you haven't, please have a look at Now Pinion's channel, because oh, sorry, I didn't read the second stream after that. I do apologise. Second chat, channel right. Thank you, sir. £2 sterling, finest sterling pounds. Highly polished, of course, I can tell. Hello, Mr. S. Enjoy your streams. Why, thank you, channel right. I really appreciate that. I really do. And please make sure that if you're on Askbook, Facebook, Twitter or Twitter, please let everyone know. I really appreciate it, because it helps get the word out, so people can hear about me. If you come across anyone and you're having a bit of a discussion, please say to them that I'm open for yawning and then debates. As you can see down here, I've got one scheduled for tomorrow. David Oliver, £2. Have you been on the Pepsi Max, Mr. Sensible? I do like Pepsi Max. I do. Oh, second best Bob. Thanks, Bob. For £5 says, I'm too tired to even say why I'm sending this. Yeah, it's all right, Bob. I'm too tired to read it, mate. Thank you. Bumpy Earth 420, formerly known as Hip Hop Hippie. You may have seen him in comments previously. I've had a few emails, nice emails back and forth, and we're planning to have a Flat Earth, Globe Earth debate tomorrow. I last heard from him a couple of days ago, so I did email him. My yawn just made it worse. You say that's made me yawn, mate. Yeah, I did have a few messages back and forth with Bumpy. Absolutely fine. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll have a bit of a ding-dong, I expect. That'll be tomorrow at the same time, 9 p.m. So 2 streams on the trot. So let's bring in... Oh. Listen, M2M, former casual spaceman, who is just super chatting £10 sterling. I know who you are now. I do. Former casual spaceman here. After some research, I think I figured out what your mystery thing is you got for $1,000. Going to keep it to myself until the day. If I'm right, I think it's really cool. Well, Cash, do DM me, because there is if you really think you got it, but you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, I have the tiniest of rewards for anyone who guesses it exactly right. If anyone does guess it exactly right, by the time I'm making a reveal video, I'll put a little credit at the bottom somewhere saying, casual spaceman, guess what this is, or whatever. Okay, so do feel free to do that. Sorry, I just had a message. Yeah, Nimrod. Just had a photo of Nimrod in bed. I won't share it with everyone. No. But he's there with his cat, trying to get to sleep, but watching this on his big TV. Nice one. You take care, pal. Let me get these people in. Well, Mr. X, Mr. Y, all I can do is take. Sorry, he's talking about Hip Hop Hippie, now Bumpy Earth. All I can do is take him as I find him, okay? Even if I know what he's like previously, I'm going to take him as I find him with an open mind, and we'll see how it goes. As I said in the... Oh, it's not that sort of reward, to Cash. I'm not going to send you flipping great wads of cash in nice, easy-to-carry bundles. I'll just put someone's name on it if they guess it right. But, I mean, if you don't want that's fine. But DM me your guess. Because at least when I do the reveal, and I'll be doing a live stream afterwards, I can say, look, the only person to have guessed it was casual. And I'll tell you what, nobody has got that close, really. And I've got to be honest, say I'm a little surprised with some of the clues. Right, sorry, just call me Avi. He's asking me about, am I pro or con with regard to nuclear? That's really interesting, and I'm open to talk about anything. But what I'm going to do is, it's got a couple of people here. Oh, if it will let me scroll down. Oh, there we go. So I want to get a couple of these people in. Okay. His mic's on. Good evening, Now Opinion. Hey, pal, you all right? Good. And where is Miss now? Is she tucked up in bed? No, not again. If anyone doesn't know, you need to have a look at Now Opinion's latest video, which I did really enjoy. Yeah, bragging rights only, Turtle Moves. Bragging rights only. Yeah, well, I really enjoyed that now, and I showed that to Mrs. S. I've even got Norwegian fans. I've got fans all over the world. Norway with the nice crinkly bits as well, yes. Yeah, I did laugh at that now, and I showed Mrs. S and middle hello colon. Oh, right, thank you, pal. Now that one was me.
Was I muted?
Maybe. Yes, Mr. X, Mr. Y, I know. God. I want to be a tree. I'm going to be a tree. You could just sit there and do nothing, have dogs piss on your feet, and that's about it, really. Yeah. So so little Miss now, she's okay then, yeah?
She's okay, and right now she's sound asleep. Maybe you should
explain again.
Fake this conversation one more time, so it's no one.
Yeah, but what I was saying is people should go and check Now Opinion's latest video. It's got his daughter in, absolutely lovely little girl, and there's a thing about her getting woken up because of me. And I did like that. I don't want to spoil it, but you know that bit where you're showing her a video and then
Yes.
you replay just that couple of seconds with that concerned look on her face. Oh, that was so cute.
I did, notice that afterwards, and I felt pretty bad about it, and I gave myself a Father of the Year award.
Oh, I thought it was great. Look, let me get a couple others in as well, because I did see Chris Durham. If you're there, if your mic can unmute, are you there, Chris? Hello, Chris. Hello. How are you, pal?
I'm okay. I forgot about the lag. So you were in the middle of saying something to Now Opinion, and suddenly you were talking to me in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, it's a bitch, isn't it? How are you, Chris? Anyway, actually, Chris, do you know what? When was the last time you were on chat on my stream?
I shouldn't watch the show because you're like the lag is really big that way.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you 1 second, what you can do, because there you go on Discord. Let me try that again on Discord.
Okay. You can watch it on Discord?
Yeah, 1 sec.
Okay.
Yeah, you can watch it on Discord, but I've just remembered if you just bear with me 1 second, because I had to reboot the stream, the virtual web camera. There you go. You got that?
Great.
Yeah,
Nice.
cool.
I have never been on the stream. I have only been talking to you during that one time when you shut down your stream and we all got together and talked for a little while.
Oh, that's what I can recall. Because I was going to say I couldn't remember the last time you were actually on the stream. Anyway, so you're all okay anyway.
Yeah, I'm fine. The reason I just wanted to come in and say hello. I've never been on your live stream, really
Hello.
on your live stream. And I wanted to say there's somebody that lately, well, two people, Limey Play and Copper Wasp. I think everybody should run out and subscribe to those guys. Copper Wasp is ridiculously funny. He pretends to be a flurf and it's just amazing.
Copper Wasp.
And,
WASP.
Copper Wasp. Yep.
Okay.
He's absolutely amazing. He just has a great sense of humor in his delivery. And Limey Play, I think a lot of people have seen him. He was very funny on the Cheesemondo's show that they have on Saturday afternoon. I forget what the name of it is. No. But that was just wanted to chill out some of my friends just people that I like. I've been watching who I think are very funny lately.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I've come across Limey. I've not come across what was it? Something Wasp.
Copper Wasp.
Copper Wasp.
As in,
okay. Perhaps if one of the mods can find his channel, drop or both those channels, Limey Play and Copper Wasp, and drop them in the chat. That would be kind. Appreciate that.
Yes, found him.
Oh, Truth Nerds just super chatted €2 saying Now Pinion's daughter rocks. So smart.
Yes.
Yeah, I must admit, again, I don't want to spoil your video. When you did those two examples at the end, with the second one, I thought, I wonder if she will do it. And she did do it. I was well impressed.
Me too, actually.
It's not necessarily something you'd think the 6-year-old would get.
Yeah.
Or 7, or...
She's 6 years old.
6, yeah. Yeah, 6-year-old bus flat earthers. 6-year-old's got a better grasp on geometry than flat earthers. Yeah, so it's a nice one. And that item I did say at the top of the stream, that item I will post. I've got to get hold of an envelope and whatnot, but I will post that, so that'll be coming sometime as soon as possible though. Okay, little gif for little miss now.
Yeah, she will be really excited about whatever you send her. But that reminds me, you told me, and I didn't realize it until afterwards, you told me that you had sent me a message earlier and I didn't understand what you meant.
Yeah.
But then I saw a little notification on my phone that you have actually sent me a comment on my YouTube video. But then I went to look and there was nowhere to be found. And I noticed that the entire day today that YouTube just goes in and removes completely fine comments.
Yeah, I
from
did.
David Oliver, for instance. I don't know why.
Oh, there was Copper Wasp. Good timing to join. Well, there you go. Copper Wasp is in the side chat. Copper Wasp has just been shielded out by Chris Durham.
Yes.
Oh, and there you go. Yeah, because I'd gone back because I thought, oh, I was a little surprised you hadn't replied. I thought, well, where is it? Did I put that on the video? Did I put it on disc? I couldn't find it anywhere, and I just thought, oh, well, I just can't find it, which is why I sent you a message again. That's weird.
Lots of the comments was removed. I haven't seen this before, so I thought maybe it is because I had a minor on the video.
But I don't see why.
Did your comment have any links in them, as in links to videos? Links
No. It was just a straight discussion comment. And I had noticed that Now had put a comment in there saying, oh, it looks like some of my comments are disappearing. But when I put it in, it all looked fine. And he said he got a notification, so it's weird. Obviously, YouTube's playing silly buggers once again. We've just had that thing recently with all the subscribers not receiving notifications. So if anyone here is suffering from that, the way to fix it is to unsubscribe, make sure you subscribe again, and then hit all notifications, and it does fix it. We had this around a year ago, so it may end up being an annual what's the word? Tradition. An annual tradition. Yeah, annoying. Yes. Now, I do apologise. I've forgotten who it was. Wanted to talk about, or ask me what I thought about nuclear, pro or con.
Yeah.
Now, I assume we're talking nuclear power, not nuclear weapons. Nuclear power.
I assume so too.
Yeah. Nuclear power, well, obviously carbon-wise, it's amazing. But one second. Yeah, Gary Wybenga, that comment, and there you go. He's notice to mods, you guys always not pay attention to what Mr. S says, tells you. He's asked you to leave me alone as long as I'm not copy pasting. Yeah. As long as there's no insults. I'm not saying you have, Gary, but as long as there's no insults and it's not just gratuitous copy pasting, I do welcome alternative views. Hell, it means it's something for you guys to argue about. So the CO2 thing's brilliant, of course. And I think that the technology is generally pretty safe, but it's a very expensive technology. I think the big problem is just the disposal afterwards, and I guess the rundown costs afterwards.
But I am pro nuclear power. I think we need to be, if we're gonna make sure to meet the different demands that we have. The European Union just had a new 2030 goal, or was it a 2050 goal of I can't speak English today. What is it? The carbon offset.
Offset.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the targets?
Yes, the targets. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's okay.
And I think nuclear power is right now the only way to really help us get there faster. But then we do have to acknowledge that sometimes we actually do have accidents. The most obvious and famous one is Chernobyl. If the wind was blowing in a different direction that day, then Sweden would have been a really bad situation. Yeah. That's the kind of famous thing. Also, the reason I have never been to Japan is because I think 2 days before we were supposed to be, that happened, and we got our money back from our flight tickets. Sometimes bad things happens.
The problem is it's not just a bad thing like, oh dear, that's broken, costs a lot of money. Chernobyl was, it cost an awful lot of lives in the immediate aftermath, all the firemen and so on. We had absolutely brilliant TV series here. It's a 4-parter telling the story of Chernobyl, and those guys going up to the roof because there was radioactive material on the roof, and each one sort of had as best equipment they could possibly have and a shovel, and they had, I forget what it was, 30 seconds each to go out there and shovel as much stuff as they could off the roof and down into the pit and then back in, and that was their one stint, 30 seconds. So an awful lot of people did it, and an awful lot of them died. There were firemen who had to wade through radioactive water in the basement, but the problem was they knew someone had to do it, and they went there knowing. It's very sad. I don't know what the original cause was. Was it poor technology, poor maintenance, lack of understanding, mistakes made? I can't actually remember that bit of it. Maybe.
I don't remember either, but wasn't it like they invented it too late? What if they had done it 1 second sooner, everything would have been okay or something like that?
Because you get that meltdown, don't you? Because I can't remember all the things. It's a balance of so many things: more coolant, more fuel, or the reactor rods and so on. They got to keep it all in a balance.
Yeah.
And
And I think Fukushima would have been much worse unless they had really, really brave people to try to cover that situation. So
well, Brian Pop Robson had a nuclear supper. It was fish and chips. Ha ha! What about you, Chris?
It's funny.
What do you think about it all, Chris?
I have very few opinions on nuclear power because I think it's probably a good thing if it's done right, but I'm really not a science person. I strum guitars and play pianos. I don't have a lot of scientific know-how, and I don't want to make broad statements about things.
No,
that I don't
but
understand.
I'm not a nuclear engineer, but you can still have your opinions based on what you do know.
Well, if they do it right, I'm all for it, and if they do it wrong, it's pretty much how I feel about everything, right?
Now Barry On is talking about it. Talking about Chernobyl, there's no containment building, which of course there is now. The reactor was designed in such a way that overheating produced more power, which produced more heating. Exactly, it became a runaway reaction, didn't it? Ooh. And Buddy Zappo's in there, who's a nuclear technician, so definitely pro-nuclear. You're just looking after your job, aren't you, mate? Yes, the waste is an issue, but what most people don't realise is that something like 80+% of the nuclear waste processed at Sellafield is produced by medical industry. Old scanners, X-ray machines, etc. Well, there you go. So that's still got to be dealt with, even if you didn't have that. Yeah. And I think it was Just Call Me Avi was the person who brought this topic up, and he's actually sat in the live waiting room. So, Avi, I'll bring you in just a second. So that gives you a minute's warning, so I don't rip you out mid-sentence like Chris. And for those who don't realise, Chris Durham Music Channel is the guy who did the theme tune, for want of a better word, I don't know how to describe it, for Mage.
It was my theme song for you because it was.
I used it for Mage.
I woke up one morning and I was thinking, Mr. Sensible, fighting stupidity with logic and cheese, and I just had this 1960s. I can't think of the word.
It had a 60s vibe to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a mystery show or an inspector or even James Bond. I was just thinking about all that genre of music, and it pretty much came into my head almost fully formed that morning, and I ran over to the sheet music and started writing it down. So because I didn't want to forget it. So,
excuse me. I'm sorry, people. And I loved it, and I used it for Mage, for all the Mage videos, which was great in one way, but then on the other hand, it's quite tied to Mage now. So I will use it again because I loved it, and it was very popular, Chris. A lot of people had positive comments about it, didn't they?
Uh-huh. Well, you can use it for whatever Mr. Sensible reason you need to use it for.
Excellent. I'm going to release it as a single and get rich. No, thank you. I do appreciate it. So let's bring in Avi, because it was him or her, because I don't know, who brought this topic up. Hello, Just Call Me Avi. You're muted. Hello, Avi.
Hello.
Hello. And
sorry, I had you on the stream and it's a little bit behind.
Yeah, it always is. That's just the way it works. If you're looking on Discord, you should be able to see me pretty much real time now.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yes, so it was you, wasn't it, who brought up the nuclear subject?
Yes.
Yeah, so any particular reason? Do you work in the nuclear industry? Are you glowing from living nearby a nuclear reactor? Or
I did study them a little bit when I was in university, more specifically the disasters
Yes.
And so Chernobyl, Fukushima Daiichi, 3 Mile Island. And I just wanted to point out that even though those disasters are very powerful, they really account for just a very small minority within the nuclear reactor industry. You have more accidents related to natural resources such as coal, gas, and oil than you do in the entirety of the nuclear industry. The nuclear industry is very safe for the most part. It's just those three.
Yes, but I suppose part of it is the fear of the unknown for many people, and of course, it's an invisible danger, isn't it? Radiation.
It is.
You can't. Oh gosh, there's a pool of toxic whatever. I'll walk around it. You can't do that. You don't know, do you? Unless you've got a Geiger counter there.
It is dangerous, but it's the same thing with Chernobyl, which is the reason why Chernobyl was so devastating is because there was a northern wind that was blowing on that night, and that blew the dust cloud with most of the radioactive debris. The problem is there are lots of reasons why the reactor exploded, which are not explored in the HBO series.
No.
A lot of people who have seen the HBO series say, well, I know the reason why the reactor exploded. No, you know about 10% of the reason why the reactor exploded. It is a drama. So there's a scene, I don't know if I'm spoiling anything here, but there's a scene where you have the senior engineer comes to the deputy chief engineer and says, I want you to record your command that you have ordered us to raise the power during this stage where it is unstable. And in the drama, he knocks it out of his hand. That didn't happen. He actually signed the book saying, I have the authority to change the parameters of the test. And he did change the parameters.
Yeah.
And they said, the test will go on.
Yeah.
All right, then. Fine. No problem. We'll do that then.
Sorry, I'll just say, I missed a super chat, so I'll read it out now before he falls asleep. Nimrod actually super chatted 59 Swedish krona saying, I don't quite get this. Your dome is almost as big and shiny as the Flirt dome on my big TV. What are you saying? What are you saying, Nimrod? Thank you, pal. I appreciate the super chat. Of course, with any reenactment like that, they're going to take liberties. They're going to make the story more exciting and so on. But I think it enables people to at least get the gist of it. I mean, they were under pressure, weren't they, as you're saying, to have some successful tests. Had they kept putting it off for various reasons?
They ran the test a few times and it failed multiple times. The problem that they had was the reactor itself is an old design. The RBMK is an old design. Early 1960s is when it was designed. And what they did is, instead of updating the reactors, they simply retrofitted them with the newer technology. So the control rooms were newer, the way that they were running the system, the computers were new, but the overall design of the reactor was the same. They just made them bigger. And this is what was causing what they called the instability within the reactors. They're supposed to be hot at the bottom and cold at the bottom and hot at the top. And as the water is pushed in through the bottom, it increases its temperature by about 50 degrees. It's already about 200 degrees anyway. And then it goes to 250, and that superheated, pressurized water then goes off to a heat exchanger, and that then boils water. The problem is, when they ran the reactor, because the power plummeted, it swapped over. The heat was at the bottom of the reactor core, and it was cold at the top. And because of this, there was an instability within the reactor. This is what was triggering the alarms in the control room. They're basically saying that there is pressure in the reactor, but there's no power, and we don't know why. What they didn't know is that there was effectively a hot spot at the bottom of the reactor's core that they were unaware of. The computers in the actual all 128 kilobytes of amazing processing power that they had, they were programmed to record information every 20 minutes. So 20 minutes before the test, the computer gave a reading. You see that in the HBO series, the computer tells the operators, you should be shutting down, we shouldn't be running. But they carried on anyway. The problem is we don't have all the information because, of course, the computers stopped effectively recording all the information 20 minutes before the test. We have the control room operators. So we have what's his name? Toptinov. We have Akimov. Their accounts before they died. We have Stalyachok. We have I can't remember the Stalyachok was the pump room operator. So he was the guy operating the pumps. He was the one in the control room that said that we haven't got enough pressure. Those people were the ones that reported to the authorities. Then you have Dyatlov's account, and Dyatlov's account is we ran the test, and then when we shut the reactor down, it exploded. And the men were saying as we were running the test, it exploded.
Yeah.
And then there's the mathematical reconstruction that they did, which is where they said that, well, we don't know whether or not it happened after the test or during the test, but we know that it happened this way. So they're not entirely sure. So with the HBO series shows it happening during the experiment. There's documentaries that show it happening after the experiment, and the mathematical reconstruction is the one that is the most accurate. That's the one where they show how the core explodes outwards from an excess buildup of hydrogen within the core. It shows the core blowing out at a 70-degree angle, and it smacked up against the inside of the refueling hole and slid back down. A lot of people say that it blew the roof off the reactor, but it didn't. Because of the way it was inserted, that isn't a lid. That is the reactor core. All of your fuel rods and all of your control rods, apart from the ones in the bottom, are in that lid, as it were. And so for it to go through the roof, it would have to eject all at once, but it didn't. It blew out at a sideways angle. And they know this because it kind of looks like a can of beans that's been ripped from the side. So it blew open on the side and pressure blew it out. And then, just like the HBO series, the hydrogen mixed with the air in the room, and
yeah. And then there was fallout nearby, wasn't there? Because people didn't they watch the fallout?
There were men. There were a couple of men who were fishing right next to the reactor, and they were the ones that reported. They're saying that it wasn't an explosion; it was like watching a volcanic eruption. Right. It was the whole reactor just ejected itself out. So the upper biological shield ejected from pressure, and then the air combined, and the whole thing just erupted. It was molten. It was about 3,000 degrees at the base of the core.
But then what you ended up with was what looked like a building that the middle had entirely collapsed inwards.
Yeah, so it
like
blew upwards. It blew upwards and out. The problem is it was basically like a load of, rotten eggs in one basket. They were supposed to make the roofs of the reactor buildings out of fireproof materials. That was too expensive, so they didn't do that. They used combustible materials. And so when the reactor erupted...
Wasn't there also something about some cheaper material of cooling rods, and so they couldn't reinsert them, or something along those lines?
The trigger for the reactor exploding is the reinsertion of the control rods. And the idea behind in the HBO series, they say that the tips of the control rods were made out of graphite.
Yes.
This isn't a design flaw. It's stated that it's a design flaw, but it wasn't.
But didn't they make changes to reactors after that to remove?
They made changes.
Graphite?
They made changes after. They also made changes before that. The base of these control rods are supposed to be made out of something called cobalt boron, which is a very resilient material to temperature. And the reason for this is the rods themselves they're not like solid rods. They slide in between the graphite blocks. So they kind of look like crosses and they slide in. The problem with that is if you do that with a reactor that's very hot, they have a tendency to bend and flake and flex, and they can snap inside, and that would get the whole thing stuck.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump in quickly and read super chat from Poison Toad. Thank you very much, Poison, for 20 upside down New Zealand dollars. Thank you. Saying just quickly dropped in to smash the like button. Looking forward to watching later. Hey, Mr. S, or hey to you too, Poison. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is dreadfully sad, very scary, and very interesting as well. And I mean, you must admit, although of course, as we said, the HBO documentary had artistic license and probably some errors as well. It told the story quite well, I thought.
Yeah, the cleanup operation is what it was about, and the
those
effect
poor guys on the
Soviet-
roof. I mean,
Yes,
that was
they had.
ridiculous. Well,
I
it
think
was
it was something
30
like-
seconds, wasn't it?
I think it was something like 60 seconds.
60
they had 60 seconds.
To
They
run
had
out
60
there,
seconds
shovel
to do it.
as much shit as they could off the roof into the pit, and
Mm-hmm.
run back in again. And that was it. They each had one shot at that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because that would be too much rate. I mean, I can't remember now, because a lot of the first firemen on scene, they died, didn't they? Because they were right in a very radioactive area. But I'm not so sure about those guys who went up and did that on the roof. Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure with the cleanup operation, because the work that I was doing was the various accounts. There's 16 accounts of what happened on that night by people in the control room, mathematical reconstruction, Dyatlov's account, what was in the logbook, and all of the prep work that was done the night before as well.
I mean, I remember it when it happened, and as you were saying now, the concern about the radioactivity coming to Sweden, and I believe it was detected here as well. I suppose it was pretty much detected most way around the world. Same with the Fukushima. Some of that's been detected right across the Pacific, hasn't it? But at levels that are not dangerous. But it has been detected.
Sorry, I just had someone's music playing. I just realised that somebody else's stream had just started. I was wondering where the music was coming from.
It's odd when that happens, isn't it? Look, I'm going to bring in a couple more people who are sat here waiting, and maybe we've got some more opinions and views and knowledge about it. So let's bring them in. I don't know if they're mid-conversation. So we've got Captain Welshie, who missed out last week. I think. Hello, Captain. Oh, he's muted and headphones off, but we're ready for him when he's ready. We've also got Mr. 42. Hello, Mr. 42. And Mr. Gary G. Hello, Gary. And they're all muted and all got their headphones off, so they don't even know.
Hey, while they're muted, I'm gonna step out because I just want to watch the show. I don't.
Okay, Chris. Okay, well, listen. Thank you very much for stepping in. You've been on the show now. Hopefully, you'll.
Do you have to boot me out, or do I have to boot myself out?
I can actually move you into the live waiting room if you want to say anything with colon. And that you could somewhere towards the bottom of the screen there should be a disconnect anyway. But I'll drop you in with colon. He can explain to you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And there goes Chris. Hello, Gary G. And
That's me, finally.
yes, and Captain Welshie.
Hello, sir. How are we doing?
We got you in here on time this week.
Also, my mic's working, so hey.
It is indeed. And Gary G. Hello to you,
Sir. Hello to you, sir.
Have you been on before? I don't think you have you?
I have tried to be on a couple of times, but I couldn't figure out. Hey, I'm an old fart. I had trouble computing discourse. Even though I wrote software for 50 years, I still have problems with software.
Well, so you wrote software, did you say?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I spent 20 years in IT as well. With me, it was mainframe stuff. I guess if you have been writing for many years, it would have been for you as well. Just before you answer
that's where I started. Yes.
Yeah. Well, just before we go any further, I'll just read out super chat from Nimrod. 119 Swedish krona. Thank you, Nimrod. According to a man I knew who worked at a Swedish reactor, the morning after, when people were going into work, the radiation meters were going crazy. It didn't take them long to find out what happened. Yeah. I don't think Russia could hide it, really, could they?
Well, Avi might know this. This might be a conspiracy theory or something like that. I almost hope it is. But wasn't it like a radiation cloud that was detected over Europe a few years ago? And recently they discovered it was like a cover-up in Russia where a nuclear accident happened. Do you know anything about that?
I do know of a fair few what they would call Soviet cover-ups, because they come from the Soviet Union, the original design work. There have been a fair few waste storage facilities, is what they call them. They were storing fission materials there from the weapons program, from the reactor program whenever they were making new reactors. And they stored them in these very large containers. And they store them in, what's it called? What they call special geometry. So it is designed in a way so that when you store radioactive material, it doesn't initiate fission, so that it's supposed to be kept that way. The problem is they don't, keep the upkeep for them. And so when this happens, the geometry is thrown out of alignment, the reaction starts, it heats up, more and more is added, and eventually they go. And they're in the middle of nowhere. But the problem is, again, you've got all the winds blowing them around. And they say, it didn't happen. Yeah, my sheep are glowing, so something happened.
So what about you, Mr. 42? Have you any
Good
thoughts?
evening.
Good evening. You okay?
Yes, I am okay. You pulled me in while I was on the toilet, so I put that in.
Too much information.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yeah, sorry about
Was
it.
Was it a number 1 or a number 2?
It was highly radiated.
Well, I guess that's the first, a real live stream. Well, actually, Anthony Ryan has beaten you to that, hasn't he? So, anyway, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Sorry about it.
We wouldn't have known. We would have thought, oh, just went off to get a drink. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Oh, no. Go and tell the world what you're up to.
Oh, it was already known in the chat because yeah, I'm silly and I put it there. Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah. So, what do you know of the whole Chernobyl thing?
Well, I was still very young when it happened.
That's just what I was going to say.
Yeah, but I do remember from basically the news that my parents were pretty upset about it and scared because it was a scary thing with the things that you don't know. And later I was reading and doing some research, and no, not research but reading, and that it was indeed found in Sweden. A guy who works in a nuclear reactor is tested in every entrance and going out, and he was tested positive for radiation while he was coming from home. That is basically how it was first detected in Greater Europe, as far as I know.
Yeah, I can't remember how many days after the actual event Russia finally sort of said, yeah, it's happened. Because I do recall someone said in the chat that there was issues at least a while later of radioactivity being detected in Wales, and there were concerns about lambs. Yeah.
It took some days, but that was pretty obvious in that time. They wouldn't hear any information.
Yeah. That sort of thing, cover up, it's not good, is it? Oh, Judy Bassett, thank you, Judy, just super chatted €7 saying, I've seen underwater storage for used fuel elements. Do you know about that, Avi? Does it depend what the element is as to how it gets stored?
Yes. The thing is with the problem with the Soviet Union or the Russian government is they didn't have the industry infrastructure to really develop the reactors, so they just stuck with what worked and made them bigger. But with the storage, the thing is with the storage, the way it worked in Chernobyl, all RBMK reactors, is that refueling hole. You probably noticed in the background, it looks like there's a big crane. That is a robot to refuel the reactors while they were switched on. This is the reason why they didn't have protective coverings. So they pull out the fuel rod, put a new one in, and then to the side of the reactor was the pool, which is where they would store all of the fuel rods. And they would wait until they cooled down, and then they would put them onto the back of trucks and bury them, usually. But I know that in American reactors, they put them on the back of very special trucks. They look amazing. They have like these big tanks on the back. The trucks are limited to, I think, something like 50 miles an hour. They have like a convoy, and they go to a special storage area underground that does have storage pools.
Now, I actually remember, I don't know if it was back in the 80s, but in the UK, they deliberately crashed a train that was a train designed to carry nuclear material to show that the containment would hold. And it did.
Correct.
You remember that?
I've seen the video on YouTube.
Yeah.
And on television and on all the other places that you see these things, because they were very impressed with how well it held up.
Yeah, well, I remember at the time it was quite a spectacular thing, crashing an entire train deliberately, but it was a successful test. Because people are scared of things like that. I suppose it's understandable in a way. They're going to think it's, as I said, invisible. You're not going to know. You can't see it, smell it, taste it, I guess, normally.
I mean,
it's the fear of cancers.
The engine itself was completely destroyed, but the carriage that they built was fully intact, only had a few chips on the paint.
Yeah.
I just want to point out right now that you can taste radiation if it's high enough.
Okay. What if it's in the air? Like, yes. For instance, leaded fuel from cars. I can always remember in a winter when people had the manual choke on a car and they're scraping, got the engine running, scraping all the windows. If you walk past, you could taste the lead in the exhaust fume.
It's similar. So the thing is, uranium and plutonium have said to have unique flavors to them that you can taste in the air. The men in Chernobyl, when the reactor blew up, the control room plunged into darkness, and they said that they could smell a very strong ozone taste, and they could feel a tingly taste on their tongues, which was the radiation coming from the core. And then when the sarcophagus was built, they sent men into the sarcophagus with as much shielding as they could give them. This was a few years after the explosion. And the men in the core said that they could taste chocolate, or that they could taste orange.
Now, is that an actual taste bud effect, or is it but radiation affecting the signals to their brain, making them think that they could taste something? Because like people with with COVID, for instance, one of the after effects is people getting disgusting taste in their mouth. Now, there is nothing there. It's just their brain's receiving the wrong signal. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Is there actually material in the air that they can physically taste, or is radiation making them think that they're getting this taste?
Sorry.
I would suspect that it would be both the material and the radiation, because obviously there would be uranium in the air, or whatever fuel was.
Uranium-235 is what they used. But uranium-230, it becomes 236, which is unstable and collapses. But they say that uranium supposedly tastes like orange from men who have been exposed to it. Obviously, in the Soviet Union, the safety procedures aren't exactly the best. It's about getting results. So I'm not entirely sure.
No.
It could be. It has that flavour to it. But
suck on a uranium fuel rod and tell us. Yeah,
uranium lollipops.
Because I could be wrong, but I also have the understanding, which may be incorrect, that if you receive too high a dose of radiation, you can actually see visual effects, blinking lights, whatever. Do you know if that's true, or did I just imagine that?
That is true, and it's been reported constantly by astronauts up on the ISS.
Right. Because that there obviously are no physical lights blinking. It's if that's the case, it's just signals in your brain that are being screwed up due to the radiation.
Well, I suppose you can always say that the eye is technically just a very weird radiation meter, considering
yes,
that's how it works.
Yeah, good point.
American American astronauts reported seeing flashes, and it was found that it was basically gamma rays passing through their retinal complexes because of how high they were above the atmosphere.
Soviet cosmonauts also reported seeing
Yeah.
angels or ghosts in space because they didn't have any sufficient shielding to protect them.
Well, it's interesting we've just got onto this spacey sort of thing because I don't know if it. On my flipping keyboard, like I said, my keyboard goes funny every now and then, even though the batteries are brand new. Just need to give them a roll and off they go. Yep. Dear Moon, the free tickets to the moon. What's the chap's name? I forgot. Yasaku Meizawa. The initial screening should have ended March 22nd at 7:59 PDT. And we're now on the 23rd, so I'm guessing that's ended now. So I don't know, because for those of you who don't know, I actually applied. I've not heard anything, so I don't know if I've got through the initial screening or if I'm booted out at this stage. But I should know any day now, which is quite interesting and quite surprising. Feels quite weird, really. Stage 2 astronaut training, yeah.
Have you heard about someone called Common Sense Skeptic on YouTube? Fairly new channel, a very, very, very Elon Musk hostile channel.
Oh, okay.
I think he sprung out of, he was recommended via Underfoot a while back. So that's how I found him. He has not many positive things to say about this. Or Elon Musk. It's kind of interesting to watch. I'm staying back a little bit, but well, it's interesting to listen to the criticism.
Yeah, I mean that Hyperloop thing. I think he's onto a loser there. Definite. For all the reasons that Thunderfoot gave. I mean, the cost of making the tubes, they've got to be airtight. You've got to take them down to a vacuum without them collapsing. You've got to be able to get the vehicle into it and out of it, so you're going to need some sort of airlock system, and well, it's just so many things, and it sort of ended up being a car in a tunnel now, hasn't it?
It's an old idea as well.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't his idea. He's just sold it very well.
For the same reasons, I think, by the old idea in the Victorian era never took off, and that was because the rats were eating all the seams.
That's right. That's right. Because was it leather? I can't remember if it was leather seals or whatever. But yeah, they did.
It was for a railway.
Yeah,
but it seemed like a good idea. But obviously the rats were eaten because it was made out. They were made out of leather, but they had like a treacle substance on them to make sure they had a good seal. And the rats were like, "Oh, great, free lunch."
Yeah, I was told a story when I was younger, many years ago. Dublin used to have a vacuum railway, where the train was pulled along by a vacuum in the ground. But the seals just kept degrading so much that they didn't ever work. But it wasn't in a concealed tube, just like what Elon Musk wants to do. Or what's his name, Beardy Branson.
Beardy Branson, yes.
Well, there are vacuum systems that actually work. For instance, here I live in, here in Western Stockholm. There's a part of this area here, and our garbage disposal system is a connected web of tubes. Actually, that's vacuums. So we have small tubes everywhere. We put our garbage, and it just goes away to one single room, maybe 1 or 2 kilometers away. So they can just go get it from there. So certain vacuum systems do actually work.
Yes,
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, but it's a bit different if you've got to be inside it, because obviously you yourself can't breathe vacuum. So you're going to need to keep you in a breathable atmosphere and get you in and out of that vacuum
safely.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just had a super chat from David Oliver for £5. Thank you, David. Saying, is it H3O or H2O2 that is heavy water for nuclear power? Do you know, Avi?
It's I can't remember off the top of my head. But the stuff that they typically use in reactors is in Western reactors, American reactors, is just coolant. It's just called coolant. It's anything special. In Soviet reactors, I do believe that it is some form of heavy water. I'm not entirely sure though, because sometimes it's heavy water, but sometimes they call it light water, which just means that it's ordinary water that they've pumped in from the river. But the stuff that is in the reactor itself does not make contact with the stuff that is used for the turbine. This is the big misconception that a lot of people have, that reactors pump a load of
Yeah,
junk
that's
into the
right.
river.
Yes, it's the same. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a cooling system. And according to Wiki, heavy water, deuterium oxide, 2H2O, and then it's D2O, deuterium oxide. What's the two? Oh, I don't understand it really.
I know that it can be used in fusion. It's used a lot in fusion for. They also use other elements such as tritium, which is also made in nuclear reactors. So.
And I can't remember. Was it the manufacture of heavy water was one of the reasons behind the dam busters run?
No,
that
that's
different?
wrong. There was one of
It was
the
one in
raids that they
Norway
did
you're
in
thinking of.
Norway.
Yes, that was it. Because there was an old wartime film about it. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they blew up
unfortunately,
a ferry carrying heavy water on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
tried breaking into the plant, but it didn't go well, so they decided to go for the ferry afterwards.
Yeah, I'd like to see that
And
again.
then
You
that
don't
was-
happen to recall what the film was called, do you?
I never saw the film. I just saw a documentary about the actual raid on the Norway. They basically picked up a load of Norwegians, the British Army, from Norway.
What, like on a night
just
out?
after. Well, yeah, this is it. They basically the British Navy invaded some place in Norway while the Germans weren't looking one night. Took a load of Norwegian soldiers who volunteered, trained them up, then shot them into this middle of nowhere. They lived in the snow for ages and near where the plant was, and basically checked it out. Tried to get into the plant. That didn't go very well, so then they went for option number 2, which was to sink the boat
Well, if it
with
works.
as little Norwegian people on it as possible.
Yeah. I'm
Very interesting.
Yes, it is. I mean, I remember when I saw it, and that was I've only seen the film once, and that was quite a few years ago. I know I enjoyed it at the time. Yeah, it's dated. It was probably a wartime film from the 60s, late 60s, something like that. But interesting. So
Well,
I don't know
all I
what
can
what they were looking to use heavy water for there. Or they were trying to develop a bomb, weren't they?
They
Yeah.
were trying to develop a nuclear bomb, and thank God that they sunk all that heavy water.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realise how close the Germans were making an atomic bomb.
They were ahead of the Americans, is what I remember.
Well, 274727 says heavy water is droppety water. I like that. The second best Bob says bouncy, bouncy bomb go boom, boom.
Oh, damn it.
Well, that's for sure.
Oh, man. He's still going on about that. I haven't actually watched it. I mean, watching Oakley is painful at best of times, but he still keeps going on about that. He's having an argument or even a fairly sensible comment with someone, and he'll say, does your gas go down, go boom, boom? It sounds like a 4-year-old child speaking.
My 4-year-old would never have said that, and she's 9 now, and still hasn't said something so stupid as that.
Yeah, my youngest is 3 years old, and she's smarter than that.
Smarter than your average fluff. Third says heavy water has extra neutrons. Mike 71 says H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. No, it said 2. Oh, I haven't got it. 2H2O. So 2H. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Hey,
Yeah,
Wiki is your friend as well.
There was also D2 in there somewhere.
There was
Deuterium.
deuterium oxide.
Yeah, H2O2 is peroxide. It's that old joke. 2 scientists walk into a bar. One says to the barman, "I'd like a glass of H2O, please." So he says, gives him his pint of water, says next, "What will you have?" "I'll have a pint of H2O2, please." And got violently sick.
Oh, 2H2. Yeah, Mr. X, Mr. Y, have a look at the wiki page. I can honestly say I'm not a chemist. Yeah, but I did see it was deuterium oxide was one bit. But I've not really looked into it. Only at the grossest level. In that I've heard of heavy water, and I know it's involved with that sort of thing. But other than that, no, it's not really me.
Mr. Sensible, Wikipedia, which you all know is always correct, says
Gas go down, go boom.
oxide.
Hey, we should do that, shouldn't we? Edit a wiki page to say gas go down, go boom. I might do that, and then it'll get changed back again. But
Yeah.
send it to Oakley.
Yeah, take a screenshot and send it to him. No, it says deuterium oxide or heavy water is 2H2O, comma D2O.
Yeah.
And the number 2 before the H is above the H, the number 2 after the 2 is below the H.
So
If
not
that
much
means
gravity.
anything.
Not much gravity dragging those twos down then.
No, they won't go down, go boom, boom, although it is called heavy hydrogen.
2 is accelerated up.
That's it.
Nuclear weapons go down, go boom, boom.
Yes,
I'll give him
Yes,
that.
That's correct.
Hiroshima can test it up.
Yeah. What was it? Fat Boy. What was the other one? Fat Boy was
Fat
one.
Boy. Oh shoot, Fat Boy and not Little John. That's the guy in
Little Boy.
Robin Hood. Little Boy.
Was it?
Or Fat Man and
Big
Little Boy.
Fit Man, yeah.
Fat
Man and Little
Yes,
Boy.
a fat boy. I think a fat boy is a
No.
traditional explosive, just a very big one, isn't it?
Fat Man and Little Boy, it's correct.
And the Trinity test.
The Dear John was from Doctor Strangelove. Dear John was one of the two weapons on Doctor Strangelove.
Now, there's 100% proof that nuclear bombs go down, go boom, boom.
Yeah. Fat Boy Slim, says David Oliver.
We got 2 of them to prove it.
Right here, right now.
Well, I've got people saying Fat Man and Little Boy. Yeah.
That was the name of the 2. The bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki and
Did Enola Gay drop both of them?
yes,
Yeah, it
he
was.
did.
Yeah. Don't know what happened to Enola Gay.
Colonel Tibbets.
Did they get rid of
Colonel Tibbets.
Did they destroy Enola Gay, or did they keep it? You know.
It may be in the Smithsonian, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. It'd be
do
rather
we-
controversial, I think.
I do know that to maximize the impact, they were detonated above the surface a few hundred meters.
Yes.
Yeah, air explosion.
Yeah, so when
They
they dropped
were-
them, when the planes dropped the bombs, they had to do an absolutely crazy maneuver so they could get outside of the explosion range.
What are
Yeah,
your
they were-
cases, mein Führer? I can walk. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. If anyone
They
hasn't
were
seen
two
that
different
film,
types of bombs, though, weren't they?
I don't know.
Because the Fat Man was the implosion type, and then Little Boy was the gun type. So
Yeah.
they squished it down for, what was it, Hiroshima was the implosion one, where they forced the energy onto the core, and then the Little Boy was the gun type, and the gun type's the one that they stuck with, isn't it?
Well, it fires something in there to cause the explosion.
Fission reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then control
And
fission.
actually,
Well, I'm getting
Little
comments in here
Boy-
saying Enola Gay is still here, and Mike71 says it was 2 different planes.
yeah, so Little Boy was dropped by Enola Gay, and apparently they only built 26 of them.
What, Little Wars?
And Fat Man was dropped by Boxcar, the first one anyway, and they made 120 of them.
I guess
And
once
used
you know
plutonium,
how
so-
to make one, then that's it.
They had enough resources to make 4 bombs, so they made the Trinity test, which was to test it, Fat Man, Little Boy, and then of course they had leftovers, which was the Demon Core, which is the one that took some lives anyway.
Well, I just seen another super chat from. I'm just refreshing the page. Just bear with me. From Truth Nerds for €5. Thank you, Truth Nerds. According to some flirfs, nuclear weapons are fake. Apparently, US dropped
Oh, I've heard
40,000
about this.
tons of chemical explosives. And then says, little boy was Hiroshima, fat man was Nagasaki. Yeah, the thing is with TNT, there's only so much you can explode. If you have a stick of TNT and you light it, it'll go bang. If you have a little pile of TNT and explode it, it'll go bang. If you have a humongous pile, it'll actually blow itself to bits without it all exploding because it's thrown away faster than it can ignite.
Besides
Mr.
that,
There is a
Only
maximum, isn't
one
there?
conspiracy I heard about the atomic attacks, that they weren't atomic attacks, but they were like firebomb attacks instead of being. Let's just actually be stupid.
Well, it technically is a firebomb, considering basically everything in the area was superheated to massive temperatures immediately.
Oh yeah, I know
but-
what you mean, but the conspiracy I heard that it wasn't.
Oh, there was something like what was
Something
it?
conventional.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What they used on Dresden? What was the one on Dresden? I'm trying to think.
Yes. Were they
Firebombs.
Were they
Firebombs.
potassium?
Oh yeah, that firebombing, and it was fueled by the fact that there was a wind blowing in the right direction, basically caused a little mini cyclone in the town, and they hit the right part, and the fire got so hot it started drawing in all the air from around the city, and they had no chance.
That is not conventional explosives. You cannot do that.
No.
Filmed that backwards because they put the buildings facing away so that the cameras would be protected, and the cameras were facing a mirror to look at the explosion so that the cameras would be intact.
I see, yes. And I just realised I don't know if sound's coming through of the explosion on there. If so, it's fake sound that I added, because that's a clip that I used in a video. I added the shake and a delayed explosion sound. I used that in a video a while back. But it's actually, it is real film of a nuclear explosion, obviously. Do you know, I remember when I was a kid, I had a poster of, it might have even been that explosion, I'm not sure, but certainly one of those massive, really massive nuclear tests. And I spent hours looking really closely at the photo. It was terrifying but fascinating.
Even large bombs will do a mushroom cloud like that, but nothing near the size or scale.
No, because that's
There's no way
affecting
you can say
clouds,
that
isn't it?
Yeah. There's no way you can say that it's not made from uranium or plutonium when you're looking at that stuff.
Also, you're gonna get radioactivity left after that.
Yeah.
Radioactive material. Yeah.
Also knocked out all the power around the town as well from the EMP that was released.
Yeah.
Which is something they didn't expect to happen, because you got people running to go get help for whatever it was, and the telephone's not working. But why?
Yeah.
It's connected, it should work. But they couldn't call for help. They had to go to the next town and get help.
Well, the thing is, if something like that's never happened before, and not something you've considered, there's nothing that would make you think, do you know what? I expect what will happen is it will knock out electrics. Why would you think that?
Well, yeah, no, now they understand that this is what happens when solar flares hit Earth sometimes. They knock out big electrical power grids very easily. And it's why they also don't do nuclear testing in space, because the EMP could technically shut down very large parts of the world's electronics.
And of course, satellites are at risk from solar flares and so on. Actually, I'm going to recommend a YouTube series I've been watching. I think it's called The Entire History of the Earth, and it's talking about things like the formation of the Earth, the bombardment, and how bacteria eventually changed the atmosphere to oxygen, which was highly toxic, and so on. It's a fascinating thing, and then on through evolution. But one of them was talking about the magnetic shield that that the Earth's core provides to the Earth from solar radiation, and it was talking about somewhere in the States, and it was in I'm not sure if it may have been about the 1880s. I could be way out on that. And they had telegraphs across the States, and this guy was going to work to actually do his telegraph job, and he saw wires sparking and so on. I thought, this is odd. No, I'll go and unplug the batteries, because they were battery powered. Unplug the batteries from this thing, and after a while the telegraph started tapping, and he thought, what's happening? And he replied, and they were actually transmitting through the charged atmosphere, not through the cables, because of the effect of a massive solar flare. And it had far-reaching effects, and people were seeing what do you call them? What's the effect you see up north? Aurora, way south. And of course, it could happen at any time. And a massive solar flare could be lethal for lots of our satellites.
So wasn't it in the late 1800s there were reports from down in Rome that they could see really bright aurora?
Well, Mr. X, Mr. Wise just said the Carrington event in 1859. I think that was probably it. Yeah, but do watch that check out that series, The Entire History of the Earth. It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
I have watched something on the magnetic field of the Earth, and apparently it's they're saying that obviously the magnetic field has flipped very regularly throughout Earth's history, and now it's extremely overdue. Sorry, my cat is trying to jump into my mouth. And now it's extremely overdue, and everybody's all worried about what might happen to us when the magnetic field flips. Like, will we not have a magnetic field to save us from the solar flares? Like, will it happen overnight, or will it take hundreds of years and stuff?
Yeah, because it's not a regular occurrence, is it? And I found the link. Please. Honestly, that channel is highly recommended. I've got no connection with it. The quality of it is as good as the David Attenborough Blue Planet and things like that. Obviously, they've not got that sort of budget, but it's absolutely fascinating. Thoroughly recommend it. And it would be really interesting, I think, for kids, teenagers perhaps, who are interested in that sort of stuff. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. And I see I've just had another super chat from Truth Nerds. Thank you. For €2 saying, look up Davy Crockett and M65 nuclear artillery.
Now, Davy Crockett, what a ridiculous weapon.
I've not heard of that one.
That's where you get all-out weapons from.
It's basically a bazooka with a very large nuclear warhead on it. So you have a soldier running around with a nuclear warhead pointing it at whatever. It was never used because they figured it would kill it would be more friendly fire than enemies they'd kill.
Yeah, it was top heavy, wasn't it? They couldn't get a projectile to fire it far enough away before it vaporized the people who fired it.
Well,
this is true. They didn't have the range.
Well, we've got another guest who has some interesting insights on all this, so I'm going to bring him in, or try to. General E. Shady. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Shady.
General.
Hello.
General.
General.
Yeah. Hey, General. Good evening to you. I just heard that you've got some interesting knowledge of all this.
Kind of. I came in late. I was awake until about 5 minutes before you started, and then I fell asleep, and I just woke up.
Sorry.
Again. My uncle was fairly well known here on the Gold Coast, but originally worked on the Maralinga test site.
Okay.
In Australia, when the English were testing their bombs.
Yeah.
They had to, because of the temperatures and things down there, and stability of explosives and whatnot that they were using, they actually had to put it up and down from the tower something like 20 or 23 times before they could finally test it.
Sorry, I don't understand. What do you mean?
They stuck it up on, they put the bomb up on a tower,
right,
off the ground, and being Maralinga, which is like one of the hottest places in Australia, they'd often, by the time they got it up the tower, it was too hot, or the weather had changed, the wind had changed, and they had to take it back down again and restore it. So it went up and down that tower more times than most people had had hot dinners. Also, he was involved after the test during the cleanups. And once the test was done, everyone kind of buggered off and left a few people there to clean up.
Nice.
And the nights were that cold that they went to the test buildings that were left there. They'd put up to test the blast, damage, etc. And they grabbed some of the pot-belly stoves that would have been, well, hot enough without being lit, if you understand my meaning. But they used them to light fires in and sit around and keep warm. He ended up with quite a dose and he died of cancer. But the last thing that they did after they buried most of the stuff out in the middle of the Never Nevers was drove a bulldozer into a hole, the last remaining piece of equipment, and buried it by hand.
Yes.
And there's a tank that we still have. They call it the atomic tank. It's parked out the front of one of the army bases here in Australia. They put it, I don't quote me on this, but it was only like a few hundred meters or half a kilometre from the actual detonation and survived.
I seem to remember something about some sort of tank which... No, I'm actually now struggling to think, was this actually something that happened or was really designed, or was it in a sci-fi movie? But some sort of tank that was designed to be able to be quite close and survive. Maybe I'm just totally imagining that. For filming and whatever.
They do have them, but yeah, they put this tank in there, non-unmanned of course, but they put it extremely close, and I think it blew off one of the track guards, shunted it back a little bit, but it actually survived quite well. And after a bit of decontamination and whatnot, it does now sit outside one of the army bases here. But yeah, everyone knows that it's the atomic tank.
The atomic tank. How fascinating. Someone's mentioned about remembering seeing something in the 70s, and it was called, well, someone said it's, Spice Hedge says it's Protect and Survive, I think, about surviving nuclear war. And I remember it, and it was talking about unhanging doors and putting them at an angle in an internal wall from the house and going in there with so many bottles of water and that to survive. Not very realistic, but that was actually put out as good information to try and survive a nuclear war.
To be fair, it still sounds better than duck and cover.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a movie, wasn't there, called When the Wind Blows?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, someone else mentioned that. Yes.
Which is really sad because you've got this old couple who are completely oblivious to what has gone on around them, and then they end up dying from radiation poisoning.
Oops.
Oh.
And another little known fact about the Australian test was that the wind blew the clouds as far as Sydney and other places. And they don't mention it enough, but you can actually look it up and find it. But there was fallout as far as Sydney from the test.
The thing is, you get radiation all the time. If you go up in a plane, you'll get quite a bit of radiation, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a question of how much and how quickly you get it, isn't there? I mean, you can have a safe, and you can have a safe dose. Here's a question for you: if you were given the opportunity, would you visit Chernobyl?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Absolutely.
Wow.
The
That sounds...
radiation in the area is safe. You can go there. It's fine. You can just go there in ordinary clothes. You can walk around Pripyat if you want. And I suggest that you do that because it's estimated in the next 25 years, maybe 50 years, they're going to bulldoze the whole site. to try and clear up the radiation once and for all, because they're dismantling Reactor 4 now, which is in the big containment thing. But it's highly likely that the Russian government will just bulldoze the whole site.
I know that people are sort of gradually encroaching and living on, within the zone where they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think I'd feel okay visiting there. I don't think I'd feel okay eating crops that had grown on that land, though. No, not yet.
Or dead animals.
No.
Yeah.
They're actually in Japan. A lot of the people, because they haven't had anywhere to go, have actually moved back into the exclusion zone around Fukushima, and they're growing their own crops and that. But they're mostly the stubborn elderly who knows. I don't think they're going to go that long anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you have from a thing I've seen about Chernobyl. I mean, there's an awful lot of wildlife has just taken over the area now, and the animals don't seem to be having any rather ill effects. No fifth legs, three wings, or anything like that.
I did see
quite the opposite.
Well, I did see trees. I remember photographs of trees that said were growing and then suddenly grew at strange angles and things because of radiation damage. Of course, you don't catch radiation. You receive radiation from radioactive material.
Yeah, well, it's only been recently that they've seen the wildlife returning to a state of normality as if there was nobody there, and because there is nobody there.
Yeah. The fish out of the cooling pond, I believe, even before they had the reactor problems, were doing the old Simpsons things and having 3 eyes.
Yes.
And what the heck? But most of the wildlife seems to be doing okay, but you'll never know until maybe a couple of generations, I would say.
Well, Mohammed Shafiq says crops are not affected in Thunderfoot's experiments, where he grew carrots with solid and I think means solid yellow cake. The thing is, the question is, the crop could look okay, but has it taken up any radioactive material which you then take on board? I mean, depending on the material, you only need a tiny amount. Look at the stuff with the what's the stuff that they used as an assassination thing in London? Polonium.
Plutonium.
Polonium. It was polonium. That you only need the tiniest speck, and that's it.
So it's all about whether or not you receive ionizing radiation into your body and at what level you're receiving the ionizing radiation. Because obviously there's non-ionizing radiation, which our bodies happily deal with every day. It comes from the sun. And you eat bananas, you have radiation from that. I mean, there is a lethal dose of bananas from the fact that bananas are very radioactive. And Brazil nuts.
Mercury as well.
It's quite strange. It's quite strange when you think about it. Just a standard banana would do something like that, but
it just has a natural level of plutonium or something. I forget what's in it, and something in Brazil nuts too. You can actually take a Geiger counter to a Brazil nut, and it will activate the Geiger counter.
But isn't it the case, because I've never used a Geiger counter, that even if you're somewhere that's totally safe, you're going to get ticks and clicks on it, aren't you? Just not many.
Radiation is everywhere.
Yeah.
Radiation is the sound you hear. Radiation is the light you see. Radiation is pretty much everything.
It depends on the Geiger counter as well that you're using. If you're using like an old-fashioned one with the little handle on the end, it's got a tube that's filled with gas. So they're good for places like reactors, because the ionizing radiation passes through the gas and triggers an electrical surge. But if you get the more like the ones that show you what the radiation is, they're more like spectrometers.
Yeah, I think, isn't there something that is like a Geiger counter but isn't a Geiger counter? that they use now for more accurate measurements of radioactivity. I forget what the name of it was. I was told it a long time ago by the friend I had who worked at the power plant near where I live. Well, it's not really a power plant. It's more experimental nuclear test site. God, I wish I could remember the name of it. But Mr. Sensible,
I do know what you mean.
But Mr. Sensible, you were talking about watching that film during the 70s and the How to Survive a Nuclear Bomb.
Yes.
Here in Sweden, a lot of the older apartment buildings, up until quite recently, they all have bomb shelters in them, or for the most part have bomb shelters in them.
Yeah, I remember that growing up.
And they have to be, and they still, by law, they have to be emptied out within 24 hours and ready for use if the alarm goes. And 4 times a year, in almost every town, city, municipality, they have what's called
A test run.
Yeah, they have a test run of the system, but there's a funny name they have for it. I forget what the name of it is. Hesse Fredrik or something like that.
Sour Frederick. No, Horse Frederick.
Yeah, it's Horse Frederick. That's the one. Yeah, and it was really odd the first time I heard it. I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?"
Truth Nurse just super chatted €5. Thank you, Truth. Saying in Bavaria, still no one should eat wild mushrooms or venison 35 years after Chernobyl. It depends on the half-life of the isotope.
But saying about the duck and cover thing too, they had a huge campaign in America to make you clean up your yard and keep your house painted.
Keep it what?
Because painted.
Painted?
If you had a fresh layer of paint.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
On the house. Will actually reflect a lot of the heat rather than an old dry weatherboard which actually absorbs the heat and instantly catches fire.
Didn't the Simpsons do a joke on that where the power plant or some nuclear bomb went off near their house and their house is the only one left because Homer had been painting the house with loads and loads of lead paint over many, many years.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to love
they
the
were
Simpsons.
the only survivors.
Oh,
Okay,
I do
Nimrod.
I got to admit, I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, the best way to actually avoid any radiation like that would be hide in the circle of flirts. They're extremely dense.
Yeah, that's
and,
true. But I wouldn't be surprised
really matter anyway.
if, like in Hiroshima, you'd end up with the cast shadow sort of burnt onto you of a flurf. Would you really want that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I
I presume that they'll basically instantly turn to ash, and then with the blast, you'll be coughing out flurf. I can't think of anything worse.
They'd be all saying that they
flurf.
They'd be all saying that
walking around with a picture of Nathan Oakley on your body for the rest of your life.
They'd be all
Kill me now!
They'd be all pointing at the mushroom cloud saying it was CGI.
Yeah, that's what they probably say.
The thing is,
it's a government cover.
The thing is with all those government warnings of this is what you should do in the case of a nuclear weapon going off is really weird because in the 1950s and the 1960s they were selling things which were really radioactive to the general public as a healthcare thing. They sold this stuff called trininite, which is from the test site of the Trinity test, which is like all the pulverized nuclear glass, and they were selling it as jewelry, and it was really radioactive. So for them to say, duck and cover, but your chocolate bar is going to kill you faster than the nuclear bomb will, because that's what in Germany you sell chocolate with radioactive substances in it.
And I have a couple more examples for you. Sure, in America, Frosties put a toy into Frosties, put a toy into it, which basically had some plutonium, I think, in it, which flashed every now and again as the plutonium decayed.
Oh,
And
that
it was a
Plutonium or radium?
yeah.
No, it was
Did they put
radium.
or radium, yeah.
That's
And then there was the radium dial company as well, making watches, and all the girls licking the paint, their paintbrushes, so they could get a really fine tip, so they could paint radium onto the dial, so it would glow at night.
Oh.
yeah. That
I
was,
remember old watches and clocks. You know, the way they glowed. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, nowadays.
I owned one. I owned them.
Yeah,
I got old. I had those kind of watches.
yeah. Well, I mean, so did I when I was a kid, and I had an alarm clock, and you switch off the lights, and it glowed nicely. You could read it easily. Nowadays,
Certainly.
no.
That explains your head, Mr. Sensible.
What?
I remember.
Your lack of hair.
oh,
This is a lifestyle choice, I'll have you know.
I remember watching a 1950s movie. I think it was one of the big railroad companies in America, and they were talking about maybe like a nuclear powered train. I can't remember which railroad company it was. It might have been Union Pacific, but they were just looking at the chalkboard and telling them, just talking about it.
Yeah, there was even thoughts of making a nuclear-powered aeroplane.
yeah, that would fly indefinitely, and then should all else fail, they can dump all the radioactive exhaust on people below. And it was like, that doesn't really sound like a good idea, does it?
But of course,
I'm looking at the cruise missiles, because they could launch it and it will fly indefinitely at whatever height they want. It will just keep going and going and going until they want to drop it.
Well, until it hits the dome.
well, actually, I remember during was it Desert Storm or whatever, and they were firing cruise missiles. A news report saying this report said we saw the cruise missile, whizzing along at whatever height, and it turned, like a corner, straight. It's phenomenal things.
Yeah.
But Orion, nuclear-powered spaceships. Oh, that was the plan, wasn't it? Basically, firing nuclear, having nuclear explosions drive a starship.
Yeah, they got it to work.
Yeah.
It works. It's just been mothballed. That's the thing with NASA. NASA was like, we had the technology, but they pulled the funds, so they didn't get them to go into space, which is a shame.
Truth Nerds Super Chat €2 saying, who hasn't seen Doctor Strangelove? Watch it now. Absolutely. Peter Sellers plays about 6 different roles in that film. And Slim Pickens is in it. That's the best name of an actor I've ever come across. Slim Pickens. Cult film.
You've never heard of Chill Wills, huh?
Chill Wills.
You never heard of Chill Wills?
No, I haven't. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that film.
Yeah. They shot those scenes once, and you can actually see the actor in the background who's trying to contain his laughter. Peter Sellers, who's doing this stupid mocking thing, and he's literally like putting his hand over his face, trying not to laugh. And you're just thinking, maybe we should reshoot that. Nah, it's fine. We'll just
It'll do. It'll buff out. Yes. Mohammed Shafiq says old smoke alarms. The ionisation chamber contains a small amount of americium-241, a radioactive material. Absolutely right. I remember seeing a little radioactive symbol on them. Don't they still have it? I've not noticed that they stopped. Do they not use it?
Because some kid decided to use a load of them, as well as a load of other stuff that he managed to find, to try and make a nuclear reactor in his garden shed.
But he won the science fair that year. What have you done? I made a volcano. What have you done? I made a nuclear reactor. You win.
He did. Yeah. And then he got worried about it and shoved it in the back of his car and drove on the road, and he was really unstable. And so the cops pulled him over, and the cop went to touch it, and he went, don't touch that, sir. It's radioactive. Are you what? Yeah, I made it in my shed. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the American government basically airlifted his shed out into the desert and buried it.
The nuclear Boy Scout is what it's called.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, the FBI and everyone were involved.
But he was just having fun, wasn't he?
Yeah, fun.
Oh, it makes a change from getting fireworks and emptying the gunpowder out of those and stuff like that. I mean, that's just kid stuff.
It's one way of getting a job at a at a
I do
nuclear
that.
research facility.
Yeah, but his whole back garden had to be like completely demolished and turned over.
How much
That was
material did he
the-
use? You're not talking about 2 or 3 smoke alarms, are you?
He was trying to make plutonium. That was the thing. He was trying to make it. So he built a breeder reactor in his garden shed using various parts that he'd managed to scrounge, like 200 fire alarms, which he'd taken all the americium out of them to try and make the reactor.
Or is that how you say
And
it?
then he tried-
Thank you for not laughing at me when I said it wrong.
Well, that's what it's called. It's called americium.
Yeah, but I said americium or americium or something, so thank you.
Aluminium instead of aluminum.
Aluminum.
Am I the only American in here?
Nuclear.
Aluminum.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Bomb.
Oh dear.
There's a
Good night,
there's
Flo.
actually a documentary I watched recently on a dump site in the US. I can't think of the town now, but one of the local businesses was involved in making the nuclear materials for the bombs for Project Manhattan. And they ended up bulldozing half of that building and they buried it. They buried a lot of the waste products right next door to houses, literally right next door to houses.
You're not referring to the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Sorry?
The Tennessee Valley Authority was used to actually produce the fissionable material.
Yeah, and at one point they were doing a cleanup of, I think, the factory site or some of the waste material, and they piled it up next to a building, next to a creek, and left it out there uncovered in the rain. And as it rained, all the material washed into the creek. The creek for miles is radioactive. All the houses are radioactive. People, like Americans, have basements. There's basements that literally are deadly. And the worst part of it was that they didn't really keep a record of where they dumped stuff in the ground fill, and it has caught fire. And it's on fire underground, slowly burning towards the area of the highest radioactivity. At last count, it was something like 30 meters away. And they are still debating about how to dig down and put a barrier between the underground fire and the nuclear waste.
Not good. Not good.
It's a
Are you
very,
talking
very
about this?
interesting thing.
Well, listen,
I
guys.
know there is a peat fire that's blowing.
Guys, it's I'll be going just over 2 hours, and I think I'm going to call it a night now. I do have another stream tomorrow, unless he's called it off. I've got a debate with Bumpy Earth 420, ex hip hop hippie, and that's 9 o'clock.
Oh, no.
That's 2100 BST, same time tomorrow night. So I hope he's still okay for that. I haven't checked to see if I've had a reply from him. I'm not sure. Oh, hold on. Or is that him? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, he's still on. He's still on for it. So that's
I
good.
call him hip drop tickety.
Well, as I said, I've had quite a few emails back and forth. They've all been very polite, not stilted. Just seems, at least on email, he sounds like a very nice guy. So I shall take it at that and see where we go. So what I'm going to do is I am going to end the stream now, guys. So what I'll do is I'll drop you all off in the live waiting room. Colon's there. I'll close the stream down and sort of come in just to say good night. Because I'm going to have to be up at a decent time to prepare. I hope everyone saw my community post update. I had received back, with regard to the item, I'd received back the custom-made item from the manufacturers. Unfortunately, it was below par. There was a manufacturing fault. I contacted them. They were as good as gold. They could not be more apologetic. They double-checked everything that I wanted and said, we'll get straight on it. And then they posted a replacement, I think about a day and a half later. And it's perfect. So today, I took it all. That's the item, the extras, and the custom-made item. Took it all, and it's all being prepared, mounted, however you want to put it. It should be 2 to 3 weeks. But the final clue I gave, actually, let's quickly run through the clues for everyone. I better just quickly run back to my channel because I don't want to miss a clue. Right, the clues for this item, in no particular order, was that it's a historic item. It's an original item from the time of the Apollo 11 mission. There are no more of the original item because obviously it's historic, so it's from that time. But copies have and are regularly made, but they're not an original. And to my knowledge, there's only 2 exactly like this. The item has not been into space and it has not been on and is not part of the moon. It is connected with NASA to the extent it even has a code number on it, and it is connected with the Apollo 11 mission. The final clue I gave today was it's connected with the astronaut Buzz Aldrin and came with a certificate of authenticity. So them's the clues. So the next news will be when I pick up the item after it's fully prepped, ready for me to, because I've shot most of the reveal video. I just need to do the actual reveal on the video. And depending on my shifts, I'll show it as soon as I can after that. So it'll be a case of a live premiere and a live stream immediately afterwards. So about 3 weeks away. So sorry about it. I'm not trying to drag it out for everyone, but there you go.
It's a rock with an S on it, isn't it?
It's a what?
A rock with an S on it.
Rock with an S. Well,
better than a C.
Well, actually, Casual Spaceman said he thought he knew what it was, but he didn't DM me his guess. It'd be interesting to see if anyone guesses it. Just aside, no prizes other than if someone guesses it exactly right, I'll put just a credit to them on the video.
I like how people in your chat are like, is it the engine arm key from the actual Apollo spacecraft, the LEM? Because that's what Buzz broke off when he broke it back in the LEM.
I mean, something like that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I mean, I had a couple of people suggesting a spacesuit. I mean, yeah, that would be wonderful. And you can imagine a spacesuit on display would be an impressive thing, but I should think that would cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, since the things cost around $1 million, I believe, for a suit. It's something of that order, isn't it? It's a lot of money. So I can safely say it's not a spacesuit.
Each one is custom made.
Sorry?
Each one is custom made to the astronaut.
Sorry, I'm not.
And everything.
I didn't catch that.
Each one is custom made for the specific astronaut.
Oh, I see. The suits, yes, as well as, of course, being amazing materials, many layers thereof. And did you know that even things like their overshoes for use on the moon had to be X-rayed? Every item was X-rayed, because you can only imagine if there was a sharp inside there or inside the material, and it punctures the suit, it's not going to be a good day. So there's a lot of expense. Would it be the toilet they used on the ISS? It would be, Christian, only that wasn't around at the time of Apollo. It is original item connected with the Apollo 11 mission.
Is it one of the poo bags that he took a dump in while he was practicing on the moon?
What is it with poo bags and people get... Oh, Buzz Aldrin's nappy. Come on, guys.
I think it's my fault. Sorry, Mr. S.
Yeah, Buzz's pee bag from his training suit, a patch. Well, I showed a photo of the patches as clues. That there was the NASA patch, the Apollo 11 patch. Those are mine, but they're just modern replicas, if you like. Yeah. The Omega Speedmaster watch, the official watch of the Apollo Moon project. Yeah, I had one of those, but of course the strap's really long and it just dropped off and I lost it. There you go. Yeah. So anyway, the sooner the better, but it's likely to be about 2 to 3 weeks till the item's ready, unfortunately, and it'll be as soon as I can after that. Okay.
For $1,000 or £1,000?
The listed price was basically $1,000.
Okay.
It was actually a dollar or it would have been $1 under, $999, but then there was sort of $50 postage on top. Although I must admit, it got here to the UK to my door in 3 days, so that's not bad, not bad at all.
I was going to say something about it, better not.
Nah, by all means, if you want to have a go, send me your.
I don't think you would have gotten one of these for $1,000.
Oh, okay. Go on then.
I was going to say the Disky controls from the LEM, because Buzz operated them.
No, it wasn't that. I admit I don't know what they are, but as I did say, it has not been into space. This item has not been into space. Okay.
Well, they had prototypes that they tested on the Disky, which was also connected to a room of a computer, but still.
Yep, but
it was huge because they didn't want to test them on the ground because in case they broke them because they only had so many.
Yep. Well, I have to say,
IBM was like, don't touch that.
Yeah, this is where I do the big reveal and everyone goes, oh, is that it? Well, all I know is when I saw it, I was really quite excited, and now I've got it, I'm very pleased, and I think it looks great.
Oh, it's Mrs. S, please.
Mrs. S, you trying to get in her good books?
Of course, I fucked it up first. Now I need to make it all again.
Okay, right. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to have to cut and run, so I'm going to chuck you into the waiting room, and I'll be there in a minute. So, thank you very much for joining us, Captain. I'm just working my way down, Captain Welshie. Thank you.
No problem, sir.
Okay, cheers. And Gary G, good to see you. Glad you got in.
Thank you.
Welcome. See you again sometime. Just call me Avi. Thank you very much. That was an interesting conversation, Avi.
That's okay.
Okay.
See you then.
Okay, you take care. No, I'll leave me in. Mr. 42, you're next on the list, so thank you for dropping in yet again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome, my friend. And Nimrod, who wasn't going to come in tonight, who's supposed to be asleep with his cat.
No, but you made things interesting as always, you damn...
Oh, so it's a case. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Sensible's on. I go to sleep. Oh, he's actually quite interesting after all. Oh, right. Thanks, pal. Well, you take care. See you soon, yeah?
Good night for me and the cat.
Good night. And no Pinion.
Yeah, nice. I was quiet in the middle there because I have a little mute button on my microphone, which I pushed for a minute and I forgot I had, so I bashed in everyone but I realized, oh, no one heard me. That was silly of me.
Never mind. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning again. Oh, dear.
Before you kick me out,
yes.
Am I allowed to shield my channel?
No. Oh, go on then. Okay. Go on then. Go on then. Show your channel.
I have a tiny little channel. It's called Now Opinion, and I just started making videos again. And every now and then I will do videos with my daughter. She loves it, and she's super funny. Believe me, she makes every of the videos we're planning now gonna be extra fun. So if you haven't yet, and please consider having an opinion as your next subscribe option on YouTube. Thank you.
Very welcome. Yeah, check out Now and Little Miss Now. And will we ever be seeing Mr. Pinion again?
I hope so. I will continue to make some jokes about him until he shows up again.
Good. He's a funny guy.
He is.
Funny guy. Okay, well listen, do say hello to him though when you're next in touch.
I will.
Okay, you take care now. See you soon.
See you.
Right, so there we go. Right, make sure I've got everything set up ready because I'll probably screw it up. It has been known from time to time that I'll get the sound wrong, Yeah, thank you very much. Please, if you're around tomorrow night, it looks like the debate is going to be on. I don't know how it's going to go, whether it's going to be a sensible discussion, a silly discussion, a dumpster fire. or a rage quit or whatever. I don't know. But as I said, all communication with Bumpy so far has been totally okay, all above board, great stuff. So it could just end up being an interesting debate. That's what I hope for. I'm not sure what evidence he's going to bring. It's just flat Earth v globe Earth, so I'm not sure what angle he's going to come from. So I need to decide exactly what way I'm going to put forward for him to tackle. I've got at least one idea, but I want a couple more, so I'm presenting with sort of 2 or 3 things. Right. So thank you very much. Take care. Good night, and stay sensible. And let's see if this works. Bye bye.
Mr. Sensible,
I'm not sure what evidence he's going to bring. It's just flat Earth and globe Earth, so I'm not sure what angle he's going to come from. So I need to decide exactly what way I'm going to put him to. I've got at least one idea. There's 2 or 3 things. Right, so thank you very much. Take care, good night, and stay sensible. Let's see if this works. Bye-bye.
Bring your logic and your cheese. Mr. Sensible has the subtlety.
It's just
I needed proof of gravity, so I jumped off the roof. It took a lot, let me go further. Why was I ever such a dumb flat earther, Mr. Sensible? I'm such a clown. I am the laughing stock of the town. Bring your logic and your cheese, Mr. Sensible. Help me out, please, Mr. Sensible. Bring me a sphere, to which the waters of the oceans adhere. Have explanations that let me be candid. So clear that all the fluffers understand it, Mr. Sensible. Please hear my call. The earth is not flat, so let's have a ball. So bring your logic and your cheese, Mr. Sensible.